PvP. A lot of good change with PvP. 3 peaking, first off, which I'm very surprised and obviously glad, but very surprised that they are implementing this fix. They're just basically making it so you can't emote in trials. How does it work? Is it just the trials game mode?
It's trials and competitive. So
okay,
I mean, quick play and
too.
everything mostly unaffected, but quick play is very low stakes. So
right. So yeah, so you can't emote, and you can't pull out a sword or third-person weapon without ammo, which is exactly what the majority of the community said should be done. But I was very skeptical on if Bungie could do it, because that's a lot of, like, you say those things, but that's a lot of development work. It's very complicated. Like, I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but you know, you have to, animation wise, it's very complicated, and it just adds on. Like, game development is just long and complicated, but having to make it so that when you don't have ammo, you go, I guess you stay in third person. I wonder what's going to happen. Are you going to put out a sword hilt? Are they going to build a model for that, or are you just not going to be able to put it out? Then when you get ammo, it'll snap into third person. There's animation things they have to tweak, so that's why I was kind of hoping they would do something like that, but very surprised and impressed that they are going to be. And also disabling emotes, that's quite a big deal. Because obviously emotes are
a very big deal.
One of the things that that Bungie probably won't talk about, and it's the kind of an underlying reason, is emotes are obviously a huge part of the business side of Destiny. People pay real money for emotes. Anything involving emotes or microtransactions, Bungie are always very careful, because that's content people are paying for. So you can't like disabling it in a mode. Emoting is a large part of the culture, especially in Trials. It was the intro for Trials of the Night was just emoting for 10 hours. I think the screen's still going on now. But yeah, disabling emotes is a very big deal. Just disabling it. Obviously, it's not going to hurt their bottom line too much. People aren't going to not buy them. But you know, if you purchase an emote, you want to be able to use it in Trials. But yeah, disabling it, which is very impressive and very cool. So for players that don't know, 3 peaking is when you use either a sword hilt or an emote to go in third person. You can get a wider field of view. You can see around corners. It has been a thing since the launch of Destiny 1, but it's only increasing. It's been interesting to watch, but it's only increasingly become more of a thing. I mean, I've been doing it since Destiny 1, since like you can even find in my Trials videos.
Right?
Yeah. In my Trials videos in 2015, I was doing it, and I just did it because I knew it was just a advantageous thing to do. You get third person, but it wasn't. I'm not saying I'm the only person that figured it out, but it wasn't commonly known. It was just one of those weird things that no one really thinks to do. But emoting is like, yeah, you just like do an emote and you can peek around the corner. Why would you not? But it's as the player base has matured and the knowledge has increased, it's just become such a commonly known thing and such a widespread thing that just everyone does it. And it's just become, but it is funny because it has been in there since 2014. You could do it, but just not to this extent. And it's gradually,
In the original, you know, identity of Destiny, as it were, like there has always been the fact that this game was built as a third-person shooter before a first-person shooter, which is stunning to some people, I know, considering how good the first-person aspect of Destiny is. But that's why a lot of the third-person camera work, when you are using a sword or you are in super, is so good. It's because that's part of the way that it's built from the ground up.
Yeah.
All of that being said, man, this is a long overdue change, and it's nice to see that particular thing is being addressed, as well as, I believe, some stasis nerfs that are bringing them in line with some of the light subclasses as well.
Yeah.
Further stasis nerfs, that is.
Yeah, so they're just kind of just reducing their annoyingness, and then season 15, I believe, they're going to be slightly buffing the light subclasses. Again, stasis is a very over talked about topic, and we've talked about it plenty of times because it is very glaringly a big problem, and it's the reason a lot of people aren't interested in PvP anymore. But they're going to be, nerfing it slightly. But as I said before, what makes the whole point of stasis is freezing stuff by nature. So. And you kind of, it's as I said before, it's kind of just an unwritten rule about freezing and stopping someone's movement. So ideally, you'd want no freezing at all, but what makes stasis is freezing. So I'm not sure how they're going to nerf it without just making it pointless, is what I'm saying. Like it's going to be a very, that's why I'm glad I'm not a sandbox designer, but it's going to be tough to see them try to make stasis not just game-breakingly annoying and jarring, but worth using. And it is their brand new subclass that they're trying to push, the new Darkness subclass, the new Beyond Light. It's one of the biggest selling points of the expansions. They don't want to nerf it too much, but yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
I think it's nice to see that the consensus of their balancing is following in line with what I'd call common sense, which is they want to make sure that it's still powerful and fun in PvE as well. You know, like, that's always, I think, the priority of the community is, if the sandbox team is going to take the nerf mallet to the thing I love, let's make sure that it doesn't, you know, unintentionally nerf mallet me when I'm going into a raid or a dungeon or a nightfall strike. Absolutely. You know? And there's always been I mean, we talked about it on previous episodes of the podcast, is just, you know, it goes as far as the talk about the need for separate balancing, or separate sandboxes rather, where it's just PvP and PvE are completely different things. But
yeah, it just does different things maybe.
Yeah, here we are though, and lo and behold, Stasis is being brought into line, and I mean, we'll see how it ends up going. It's still a bit of an open question as to how successful that'll be, but I live in faith, especially considering the responsive nature of the update with regards to a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
let's make no mistake though. PvP still needs a lot of love. You know, these are good foundational points. I can absolutely understand that the 3 peaking issue is going to take a lot of engineering know-how, and it's not exactly a small thing of like, make it so that the thing doesn't do the thing, you know, like to backseat game dev, as one might say.
Yeah,
it's it's no small feat. But yeah, PvP still, they will still need love. Do not forget about the Crucible. Shax's crowd has been neglected for quite some time. So yeah.
Yeah, they're doing some security updates. They did
this
PvP.
Good.
Yeah, they had a good amount of most of the concerns with PvP, but as you said, there's still a lot of underlying issues with PvP, and just the age of it. The one thing we can't get around is just it's a very old mode. It's the same mode as we've been playing since 2014. So as expected, it's an old mode. So it's just like any game, any competitive multiplayer mode. The older it gets, the wider the skill base, the skill gap gets, the more further apart the casuals and the hardcore. Like, think about someone who's been playing. Think about the best player in Destiny 2 Crucible versus someone who's just picked it up. There's just worlds of. It's just like, how are you jumping like that, and you're just min max, and you got the stats and just cooldowns and abilities and build. Like, it's just worlds of difference. So yeah, Crucible needs a lot of love, but they're doing some pretty much most of the big points. Security stuff they're doing. So DDoS protection
and going after people who make cheats with more strong legal action, I believe, were the points that were brought up, right?
So PC cheats, which is one of the biggest ones, and console DDoS protection, which I think is coming in this season or soon. The DDoS protection on console, but the security, obviously hackers, cheaters, mainly a PC thing.